evening, everybody! Welcome to round 3 of International Sim Racing Organization's 1986 F1 Series, coming to you from the microstate of San Marino. Cars are in their warm-up session right now. Qualifying session complete. We will go through the top 5 in just a moment. As I'm joined in the booth by Alberto Ibañez. Alberto, good evening. Alberto, I'm having difficulty hearing you right now. You're going to have to turn up your microphone. Well, in any case, here we are in Imola, and this is a track named for Enzo Ferrari and his son Dino, one of the few F1 circuits that runs counterclockwise. We got the map right here. And this is another one of these circuits that in modern times had the unfortunate need to add chicanes around the circuit in order to reduce speeds and increase safety. Even taking that into account, this is an iteration of Imola that is a fun circuit to drive. It has a sort of ebb and flow that is challenging as well as entertaining. Some decent elevation changes thrown in here as well. You've got high-speed corners, a tight hairpin, a double apex left-hander, something for everyone, really. And today we're going to be doing 60 laps around this circuit, which will be quite an intense run for these drivers. There aren't too many places around here where you can catch your breath. Your analysis of this Imola circuit, Alberto.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you great. Thank you.
Okay. Was having some difficulties here with the microphone, which is weird because I had checked it beforehand, but
that's quite all right.
Yeah, whatever reason it wasn't working. So yeah, Imola. I mean, absolutely great track, absolutely historic track. One track that is very well known to Formula One aficionados all over the world, and a track that underwent many modifications over its life, and all of them obviously always in the direction of making it safer and slower. We know this is the infamous venue where Ayrton Senna unfortunately passed away on the same day as Roland Ratzenberger.
Yes.
And this is very, very indicative of how dangerous the walls are here in this track. I mean, it's an old track. Its origins date back to many decades ago, and the safety wasn't obviously back then the primary concern when they were building tracks. So they basically made the too narrow areas with gravel traps and all that, and the walls were unforgivingly close, especially when the cars started being much quicker and getting up to speed. So this is a track where even if we are not using the modern layout that is terribly interrupted by many sets of chicanes, there are already a set of them. There is still here the big curve where, unfortunately, as I mentioned, Ayrton Senna passed away. And that's one of the probably most beautiful sections of this track that will combine that part that is very quick with several hairpins and then these complicated chicanes where we should be hopefully seeing many overtaking moves, but also probably, unfortunately, some crashes because this is also very narrow. So it's a track that it's very technical, it's quite complicated, and above everything for these 86 Formula One cars, it's going to be very hard on the fuel and probably also very hard on the tires because due to the temperatures of the season when this is run, the tires are going to suffer a lot. We know the tires are one of the prime concerns that the drivers will be having, and here it's going to be really something very complicated because track conditions may vary from what they have been doing during qualifying and warm-up, and they better choose right because otherwise that might be in trouble over the race.
Very expert analysis. Thank you, Alberto. As we take a look now at Jules Bouchard in his JPS Lotus, and last time out, Jules had the race and the victory that he wanted to have at Rio. He led 60 out of the 72 laps. He was the class of the field, and he beat Ray Rodal to the finish line by a little over 21 seconds. It was a dominating performance that proved that his Rio form was no fluke. His teammate, Luciano Rocha, finished 6th. making it 10 points total for JPS Lotus. Although they're only third right now in the Constructors' Championship, I don't think anyone believes they're going to stay there long. I asked Juha Boss post-race, you might remember, 2 weeks ago, what the other drivers would need to do to catch the Lotus duo, and he kiddingly replied, go faster. But seriously, I know we're only 2 races into the books, and maybe speculation on this subject is premature, but the other teams have got to be somewhat worried about what we've been seeing so far. Jules is on the pole for this race, and he was on the top of the charts all week long, setting blistering pace in practice. How do they counter the prowess of the Lotus team here at Imola?
Probably because this is a track where, as I've said, it's very fuel hungry. What's going to happen here is that Jules is not going to be able to keep that pace. I mean, we have been talking about that in the previous tracks, and it was somehow surprising that he was able to make it properly with a Renault engine that is probably one of the thirstiest that is in the grid. But honestly, I mean, I don't think he can pull it again here, because this is really one of the worst tracks in terms of fuel use. So we should be seeing here, for example, the McLarens, which have the best fuel management, probably rise from the midfield towards the end of the race. But I don't expect that Jules is going to be able to keep on the same strategy that he had been doing before, Wayne Rainey style, like I'm going all out and he who can follow me.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Jules, it really was spectacular all through the week. I was looking at the times, and he was like sometimes a full second, it seemed, up on people. It was really, really impressive. And as I said, finishing second last time out was Ray Radal, a teammate of our current championship leader, David Saber. Ray is known, there he is, Ray is known for very consistent, smooth races, and that certainly served him well 2 Sundays ago. I'm curious to see how he's going to fare today, not only against the JPS powerhouse, but also against a very strong and similarly measured teammate.
Yep. That's one of the highlights of the race going to be.
And of course, we can't be at Imola without talking about Ferrari. The Tifosi are here in force to cheer on their blood red cars, and they have plenty to be excited about. Both cars finished in the points last race, with Jonathan Asserklint setting the fastest lap of the race. I didn't notice that at the end. And the team is knocking on the door of a possible victory very soon. Is San Marino a track that you think will favor the Ferraris? And if so, which of the 2 drivers do you believe is poised to capitalize, or is it still a toss-up?
That's going to be a hard one, because, I mean, San Marino obviously is a track that has a good combination of high speed and also needs the good handling on the chicanes and that. So the Ferrari, which is a car that is probably neither the quickest, neither the most agile, but it's a more or less well-matched pack, it might actually do very well here. The problem, as usual, is going to be the thirsty engine.
Yes.
So that's what could really here cause some trouble. And when it comes to saving fuel, I have the feeling that Juha Boss is probably better at that than Jonathan. Jonathan is more of an raw speed type. You know, he's very much a very accomplished touring car driver, and in touring cars we all know you don't have to care too much about the fuel use. It's something where you go all out all the time, and he can really bang the wheel and force the car and all that. But when it comes to fuel saving, I don't know. I think Juha has the edge there, but we will see.
All right, well, that'll be interesting to watch. I definitely, I don't think there are any team orders at Ferrari, and we'll see where all this goes. Why don't we take a moment here and go around the track with, we're actually following Juha Boss right now. Let's go around the track with him and have a look at this Imola circuit. He's heading into the final chicane here, which is called the Varianta Bassa. It involves turns 16 through 18. Now he is coming onto the main straightaway. You can see the grid slots there. Crosses the line. Now he's heading down a short little straight here into the very notorious Tamburello left-hander. Very fast through here. Flat out. Now a short straightaway until he gets to Villeneuve curve, which is a fast right-hander. And this is difficult, Alberto, because you're also braking for this left-hand hairpin at Tosa.
Yeah, very complicated and bound to cause a lot of accidents when trying to overtake.
Okay, so he continues now up a hill after Tosa, fades a bit to the right for a left-hander coming up, turn 5, Piratella. And now we're heading back downhill towards a chicane, which is called Acqua Minerale, literally mineral water, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah, you
now,
can see here how the waving nature the S's.
Yes. Now heading out of Acqua Minerale, up the hill again, back to the left, and now he's heading for the Varianta Alta, which is it's a chicane encompassing turns 11 and 12, running a bit under the curb there. Now heading downhill, fading back to the left here, and we're going to come to a very critical section called Rivazza, which starts as a sharp left-hander right here, and then there's an immediately right after it, another left-hander, which is a bit more open. So you can get much more speed built up here before you get to the Varianta Bassa. And now Juha accelerates out of that turn, and now into the Varianta Bassa. Right, left, and there's the entrance to the pit road ahead of us, and that is where Juha is going, in fact. So that is one lap of San Marino from the vantage point of Juha Boss.
Yeah, and I think everybody has realized how narrow this track is.
Yes, that's another thing.
I mean, it's going to be very complicated to overtake here. And the chicanes, I mean, yeah, they are slow, but they are not the stop and go type that you find, for example, at Monza or at Hockenheim. These are really quick chicanes, even if obviously not flat out. And that means that drivers will need to be very, very careful, because it's so easy to go too much and hit a curb and rise the car and lose control. Like I say, it's not as when you are in Monza that you are dead stop nearly when you are negotiating the chicanes in first gear. This is quick and this is very dangerous.
Yeah. While we have a moment here, we got about a little less than 4 minutes before the start of the race. Let's take a look at where we stand in the championship. Drivers' points, first of all. David Saber still leads the Drivers' Championship. He's up there with 11 points. 2 points back is Jules Bouchard after his victory last time out at Jerez. And he's tied with Jonathan Asserklint, 9 points apiece, tied for second place. In fourth place is Ray Radal with 6 points. In fifth place is John Team, tied with Juha Boss, 4 points apiece there. In the Constructors' Championship, it's a bit more cut and dried. Marlboro McLaren International is in front with 17 points. Scuderia Ferrari is second with 13. John Player Special Team Lotus is in third with 10. Equipe Ligier is in fourth with 4 points. And Motor Racing Developments is in fifth with 3 points. So that's the top 5 for the Constructors' Championship as well. Let's take a look at our trivia question for you to ponder during today's race. Who holds the record for most San Marino Grand Prix wins? Is it A, Michael Schumacher, B, Ayrton Senna, or is it C, Alain Prost? We'll have the answer later on in the broadcast. Coming up next week at ISO, Pro Cars go back into action, this time at a proper circuit. Unlike the Norris Ring, which is racing shopping carts in a supermarket, this will be a very elevation change heavy race with close battles. This is the 4th round of 9 for the Pro Car Series. Support race for the 1980 British Grand Prix. Sunday, February 26th. The race will start at 2000 CET. So going back on the track now, getting close to the end of the warm-up, some notes from the drivers, Alberto, about what they're expecting, some that you've already reflected. Juha Boss was asked in the garage what he thought of the race coming up, and he has bad feelings about the fuel. He thinks that lift and coast is going to be essential. Tires, the track appears to be very cold. Most sessions it's around 15 to 20 degrees. A one-stop is most likely, but the compounds will depend on the temperatures for those who are watching them. So watching tire temps will be a problem. David Saber from the McLaren camp and current points leader said he'll most likely be using B compound tires. Right front wear could be a concern. I can see that definitely being the case with corners like Tamburello. Fuel, lift and coast, lots of lower boost setting to try to make it the entire distance. He says he'll try to remember not to get into battles that will increase his fuel usage. So as much as people would like to go at it in this race, we may find people holding off and waiting station just to try to maintain a fuel economy that will work. David says qualifying will be his problem again, as he expects he only qualifies 10th or 15th or so, which means he'll have cars to overtake. We'll see where he is when we go to the grid. He's hoping to get some points, but it's going to be difficult because overtaking cars to get into the points will take a lot of time. He thinks that engine failures and people running out of fuel are going to happen in the race. He just hopes that it's not him. Also, he pointed out one other thing we haven't mentioned, tire stacks around the track to make sure people mind the chicanes properly. He thinks those are going to be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just glance one of them in these open wheelers and you bend the suspension and your race is basically over.
Yeah, which you don't want to do. So we'll be watching that very carefully. I mean, that's definitely going to be a concern on the start of the race. People taking too big of a bite out of the chicanes and hitting one of the barriers. Hopefully it won't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it happen at least once. Watching.
Well, I'm sneaking here through the garages, and one thing I can tell you is Jules Bouchard, for example, is equipping the soft tires right now. Whereas in the case of the Ferraris, Juha, for example, is going with super softs right now, with the green compound. We can see a mix there in other cars like the Tyrrells and that, but track temperature is right now 22 degrees, so it's not as if it's super hot.
Okay.
But we will see.
All right, so we're heading to the race session now. 60 laps on the board. We'll give you one more look at the track map here. Remember that it is 60 laps around, 302.4 kilometers on a very picturesque and historic permanent road circuit here, Autodromo Enzo and Dino Ferrari. Heading up the grid here. We also have some new faces here on the ISO grid that we'll point out as we see them. Jules is waiting till the very last minute to get onto the grid. Wants to save as much fuel as possible. Now he's onto the grid. And so
yeah, it's also a matter of temperatures. You don't want your car to overheat.
That's the other thing, overheating. So here we go. Once we get on the parade lap, we'll go through the entire field of 25 cars, it appears, that made this field for the San Marino Grand Prix. We thank everybody for watching us on YouTube. I looked at our subscriptions, Alberto. 275 subscriptions on YouTube now. Won't be long before we'll be hitting that magic 300 number.
Yep.
Cars now peeling away. On the pole, Jules Bouchard, John Player Special, Team Lotus, continuing his dominating performances that he's shown us so far. In second, representing Equipe Ligier, is John Team. Third, Grant Riddall, driving the Motor Racing Developments Brabham. Fourth, Juha Boss, Scuderia Ferrari. Fifth, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Motor Racing Developments. Sixth, K.O. McKeels, Cannon Williams Honda Team. Seventh, Richard Coxon, Benetton Formula. Eighth, Ray Riddall, Marlboro McLaren International. Ninth, Jonathan Assercliffe, who is starting from the pit lane. Apparently he missed the queue to go to grid, so he's going to have to start after everybody goes. He's going to have to start from the rear of the grid. That's very unfortunate for Jonathan. 10th, Luciano Rocha, John Player Special, Team Lotus. 11th, Anders Nilsson, Team Haas USA. 12th, Oscar Team, Equipe Ligier. 13th, Bruno Pacciola, Team Haas USA. 14th, David Saber, Marlboro McLaren International. 15th, Ruben Fernandez, West Zach Speed Racing. 16th is Francisco Amaral in the second Williams. 17th, Mikael Drexler for the Minardi team. 18th, Gilles Tau, driving the Ocel Quadricorse. I believe this is his first ISO start, at least this year. 19th, Bruno Chacon, Barclay Aeros BMW. 20th, Peter Hlavich in Barclay Aeros BMW. 21st, Jakob Fredriksson in the Data General Team Tyrrell number 3. 22nd is his teammate, Matt Sibignani. 23rd, Alan Santo, Minardi team. 24th, Jan Kowalski, Ella Squadra Corse. 25th is Brian Janik, West Zach Speed Racing. And that is your grid. Look at Jules weaving back and forth there to get those tires up to temperature. They're heading now towards Rivazza. and in a very short time they will be on the grid. But clearly, tire temperatures are a very critical thing for everybody here as we see them file through Rivazza one at a time here. Tense moments for drivers here.
Yeah, it's quite complicated because you now have to warm up the tires, warm up the brakes, and at the same time not to lose your concentration because you're going so much slower than you're used to. You are also worrying a lot about the engine temperatures because, especially in the case of Jules, he's going to stop there at the grid and wait until everybody lines up behind him. And in just some seconds, these cars can get very hot. And we seen this in the past, engines getting broken just by standing there for too long in the pit lane.
All right, so the cars are coming through the Variante Bassa now and heading onto the grid. Jules is into his slot.
Oh, and I can see a change in the tires for Jules Bouchard. He now is on softs. Sorry, I got it wrong before. It was in hards. He's on softs. Anyway,
all right,
last
so
cars, I think, coming now to the grid.
All right, so Jules Bouchard on the right. John Team on the left. Everybody buckle up and get ready for the San Marino Grand Prix. When you see the name flicker, we'll be ready to go. There's starters' orders. Stand by for the start of the San Marino Grand Prix. And the race is underway. And look at that great getaway by Jules, but it looks like there's an even better getaway by Jean Team, and Jean Team has gone into the lead. Bouchard now having the battle with Juha Boss, and he slips back to third. John Team leads, Boss second, and there's a cheer that's going to come from the Tifosi if Juha is able to get by into the lead here. But no, look what's coming on the other side. It's Grant Riddall. But he falls back, heading now into the hairpin, and it is John Team leading, but Juha Boss is trying to take second from Jules Bouchard as they go into Piratella. It's not going to happen, but what a start by John Team, Alberto.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, he got the best of the traction, and I was looking also at the back of the grid. One of the cars was standing there, that was Matthews Ibagnoni, and the other cars nearly hit him in the back. Jacob Fredriksson just spun because there is a lot of action here in the back of the field until everybody gets the car properly warm up. Lots of scrapes over the field between Brian Janik and Peter Lavak. And some cars are already going slow, maybe because of missing a gear or whatever, but there's a bit of mayhem here with all these chicanes in the back of the grid.
Riding on board now with Juha Boss as they head for Rivazza. Smoke coming off of Jules Bouchard's tires as they head into the short straight. Now turning left onto the straight that will lead them to the Bassa. And this is definitely something this is something that I did not expect. Is John Team leading the race as we come down to complete lap number 1. It is John Team in the lead. Jules Bouchard, our pole sitter, in second place. Juha Boss is in third. And we have a DNF. John Team's out of the race. He just vanished. So now
no, that must be a disco.
Oh my goodness, it's a disco. So Bouchard leads, but look at this. Here comes Juha Boss into the lead. The Tifosi will go crazy. Juha Boss into the lead, but Bouchard's not going to stand for it. Oh my goodness. Very, very close quarters battle here.
And right behind them, both Brahams were able to overtake Richard Coxon, and watch out, they are very well positioned now.
So, tragedy for John Team, who had such a great start, and it wouldn't be so inaccurate to say that bad luck. If the Equipe Ligier team didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. As they come through the Acqua Minerale, we see that the cars are starting to get a bit spaced out, but it looks like most of the field is doing okay so far. No crazy stuff going on, but what an incredible chain of events. John Team has an excellent start, then discos, and then we have Bouchard back in the lead for a second, and now we have the storybook situation of a Ferrari leading the San Marino Grand Prix into Rivazza. Looks like everybody's behaving themselves, and remember what David Saper told us earlier. He said that this is a situation where a lot of people are going to be watching their fuel usage throughout, and they won't want to engage in too many battles if they don't have to. For that very reason, because they don't want to burn too much fuel.
Yes, correct. I mean, it's obvious that at the beginning of the race you want to be aggressive and to settle yourself in a position where you can comfortably lap, and because this track is so narrow, you can probably easily block the other cars. But then past some laps, when you have settled into your rhythm, I mean, it is what it is, and you're not going to get too much into fights that are going to just make you waste too much fuel.
All right, so Yuha continuing on here and opening up a little bit of a gap now. He's got a 1.187 second gap to Jules Bouchard. And yes, you're right, the Brabhams are very well placed. Coxon back to 5th place. K.O. McKeels is where he started in 6th place. He's someone we could probably watch for towards the end of the race. Amaral also doing good for the Williams team. He's in 12th right now.
Yeah, and I would say so far, from the point of view of the teams, of the evolution of the season, the story so far is the Brabhams being there in 3rd and 4th and keeping up well with the cars in front. I don't know if this is because the cars in front are having to save up more fuel and the Brabhams are like already on their steady rhythm, or maximum that they can do, or what's the reason. But whatever the case is nice to be able to see them there, because these are wonderful cars and they have the very powerful BMW engines, so they should be doing well.
All right, we're starting lap number 4 now. And Jules Bouchard is in the tow of Juha Boss. Clearly getting a very good slipstream off that car, but it looks like Juha might have reached down and twisted the boost knob a bit because he is just streaking away now all of a sudden. And the Brabhams are a little further back, just running together. Bouchard really wants that lead back, but I think Juha is definitely in a position right now to hold the lead comfortably. We'll see if Bouchard gets impatient after a while and starts to assert himself a little bit more, but he is right on his rear wing all the way around this circuit. Clearly wants to get back in the lead. Third, Grant Riddall, of course, in the Brabham, and Del Piccolo 4th. This is a rare occasion where these two have run together. We haven't seen the Brabhams running in sequence yet this year. I think this is the first time we've seen that. 5th is Coxon, and yeah, even though he's fallen back a little bit, I think we have to remember that this is probably the best he's done so far in this series. He was complaining to me earlier about the Benetton. He just wasn't happy with it. And he is now under attack from K.O. McKeels in the first of the Williams cars. On board with McKeels right now.
Well, one thing I can tell you is that Coxon is using less RPMs than the other BMW engine cars that are in front of him, the Brabhams. So he's very serious about both reliability and the fuel use.
All right, out they come from the Variante Bassa. K.O. McKeels looks like he is going to attempt an overtake here on Coxon if he can. Yes, he goes off to the right, and he gets by. K.O. McKeels up to 5th place, matching the number of his car. Down to 6th goes Coxon as K.O.'s kicks up a little bit of dust there. And we see in the background here Ray Riddall sneaking up on this group. And then we have the first of the Haas cars, Nilsson in 8th place. The Haas team has been kind of the surprise of the season. I think a lot of that has to do with the drivers that are in the cockpit, but it's really nice to see this American effort. Not only scoring points, it scored 1 point in the first race, but also being competitive in the top 10 in races consistently.
Today there is Bruno Bagiola instead of Cesare Slapinski in the seat.
That's true. It's a guest drive for him. Oh my goodness. Grant, and I saw Del Piccolo do it earlier. The back end of those Brabhams is a bit squirrely right now, both of those cars. Do you think they've intentionally set them up to be loose for this track?
I think absolutely, because these cars are very flat, very, very narrow in terms of track width and that. I mean, they are built like an arrow to be very aerodynamic and very quick in the main straight. So you have to coax them into turning. They are not anywhere as agile as a Lotus or as a Ferrari. So they need to loosen the rear and be sure that it will be turning around like brutally a bit. So it's no wonder that they are normally using harder compounds on the rear, because it takes much of a beating from the power of the engine and traction, and also when trying to make it go around the tighter turns.
Yeah, it's as if someone sat down and designed a car that was good for high speed tracks only. You know, it's like they designed it for one aspect or one particular type of track, but didn't consider the other ones.
Yeah, but you gotta wonder what was the designer thinking about when he did this, because
Yeah,
by that time, by the 80s in Formula One, you didn't really have that many high-speed tracks, and it's like, yeah, you had, I mean, Hockenheim, Österreichring, Monza, Imola, but as we have already noted, I mean, Monza, Hockenheim, Imola, all of them are interrupted by chicanes because they were getting simply too quick.
Yeah. And KO
And that's the weak point of these cars here.
Yeah, KO is firmly now ensconced in fifth place as we come through the Variante Alta.
Quite fitting for the car number.
Mm-hmm. Bouchard is.
And there's Ray Vidal now following Coxon and getting close to him. And as I had mentioned before, due to the nature of fuel-hungry track that we are running at, I was expecting the McLarens to go from midfield to the top. And I think this is not disappointing at all, because Ray Vidal clearly has a better rhythm than Richard Coxon, clearly is catching up also with Keijo Michiels. And there's still a long, long race to go, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we see Ray Vidal fighting for the victory at the end.
That would be something. Two McLaren victories with two different drivers, but currently, and look at how much Ray is closing on Coxon now in Tamburello. He's going to make a pass here. Comes on the outside before Villeneuve curve, and there he goes, right by Ray Vidal into the points in sixth place, and that displaces Coxon back down to seventh. So
yeah, and so the leader just did the last lap. Juha did it in 1:40.6. Mm-hmm. And Ray Vidal, who is now sixth, did it in the same pace. So he's obviously having at least the same pace as the top of the grid, and it's a matter now of how long can the top of the grid keep the same rhythm that they are going.
Yeah. At some point, they're going to have to face reality and realize they have to make it to the end. But don't look now. Grant Ridal is starting to close a little bit on Jules Bouchard. He was hanging back a bit, but now he's starting to reel him a little bit, and he's about a half a second behind. Bouchard having to look up the inside here, but he's not going to be able to take Boss here at Ravazza. But this is very quickly here becoming a three-car freight train. With Grant getting into the mix. So exciting stuff coming up here. And as they go into the Variante Bassa.
Well, having the magic boost button, here the main straight over to from Tamburello and going into the hairpin is exactly the place where you would be willing to overtake if you really want to do it. So if anything happens, that will be here.
And Boss clearly has the legs on this part of the circuit with that Ferrari engine.
Yup, and Grant too.
Oh, whoa! Grant comes shooting by like a missile. My goodness.
BMW power for you.
Oh my goodness, I was not expecting that. He just zips by. Let's look at that in a replay. Here's
Well, it ain't over yet, because he's now eyeing Juha's lead.
He just zipped by like that. My goodness. And you're right, he is now starting to eye the lead of, but that was clearly a case of superior horsepower over the Lotus of Bouchard. Now he is looking at the leader. You can hear us talking in the booth. You can hear the cars on the track. What you cannot hear are the Tifosi going absolutely berserk every time Juha Boss comes by. A very partisan crowd here at Imola, I would imagine.
And even if the BMW engine is very powerful, it's very clear to me that because everybody is running at the absolute minimum boost, when Grant put a lot of boost into that engine to make this overtake, I mean, the difference was even more astonishing than normally, because when you compare minimum to non-boost with what you can do when you crank it up, I mean, he timed it very well so as to use the minimum possible, but he really caught a lot of speed here over the straight. Let's see if he's willing to repeat it now against Juha. There he comes. There he comes.
He has got a roll going. Here he comes on the left-hand side. Grant Riddall, and there he goes into the lead.
And I think Juha didn't even bother blocking
No.
him. He just moved to the right and said, okay, well, be my guest. I mean, like, lead and let's see how long your four-pot is going to last.
Yep. So, Motor Racing Development's now in control of the San Marino Grand Prix, leading with Grant Riddall. Juha drops to second, Bouchard third. Del Piccolo, Grant's teammate, is in fourth. K.O. McKeel's fifth, Ray Riddall sixth. Richard Coxon has fallen to seventh after a good start. He was up near in fifth for a while. Anders Nilsson is eighth, ninth is David Saber, and 10th is Luciano Rocha in the other JPS Lotus. That's the top 10 right now. Oscar Thiem is 11th, Bruno Paggiola 12th, Ruben Fernandez 13th, Brian Janik is 14th, Jonathan Asserklint, after starting from the dead last position in the pit lane, is 15th, Fredrickson is 16th, Plavich 17th, Bruno Chacon 18th, Drexler 19th, and Santo completes the top 20.
And Jonathan is now overtaking Brian Janik, and the only thing that will help him over the race probably is that because he cannot run too much in cleaner, he's constantly finding slower cars that should normally be behind him at the start if he hadn't missed the grid. He's going to have a lot of extra coasting, so I don't think that fuel is going to be that much of a problem for Jonathan over the race.
That's interesting.
But let's see. Yeah, but I mean, let's see what he does with the boost. But that's what happened. I mean, if you have a much quicker car and you are hampered by the slower ones, then you're obviously saving fuel. So. And I think that another aspect where you can see how evident it is that everybody is saving fuel and this is a race that is like somehow in slow motion is that you can see how the top four are there, and even Jules Bouchard is now attacking Grant Riddall again. They are very close together, all of them, so even if Grant wanted to overtake so as to have the cleaner, he doesn't really get away. I mean, he realizes that he's using up too much fuel if he tries to.
And another battle that's brewing here is Luciano Rocha in 10th place. He is trying to get by David Saber, our current points leader. He's driving the other JPS Lotus as they come out of Aqua Minerale. This ought to be an interesting battle as David pulls away. But yeah, look at this. Ray is now right up behind K.O. McKeel's in his McLaren.
Yeah, even if in the last laps the distance with the lead has increased a bit with him, he clearly has been railing in on K.O. McKeel.
K.O., yeah. Oh, you can see he's got a definite roll here. He's going to attempt to pass, it appears. Yep. Going for the inside here before Villeneuve, and he takes the position. Gilles Taux, just in front of this group here, in 21st position, so they're going to have to contend with him. Oh, whoops. 3 wide into Tosa. My goodness, that was a harrowing piece of driving, but it looks like Ray is going to get the position. Maybe not. Here comes, no, he's got it. He just manages to get that position. Let's look at that in a replay.
Whoops, K.O. McKeel runs into the gravel as a result of that.
Oh, shoot.
Fortunately with no consequences. But I think this basically settles it in favor of Ray.
Yeah, let's take a look at a replay of what happened here. I think this was a classic situation of just a backup marker being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Grant goes to make the pass here on the inside at Villeneuve, which actually puts him in the wrong place for Tosa. They come up to the turn, and there's Gilto, who, to his credit, is trying his best to get out of the way. There's nowhere for him else to go there. He's all the way to the right. And KO almost takes advantage and almost gets back in front. But no, Ray Radal is now in 5th place. They lap Matthieu Sibignani. Juha in 3rd and Bouchard in 2nd with Grant leading. So it looks like the front is pretty settled down now, or as settled down as it can be. Ray in 5th, KO in 6th, definitely. Nilsson is in 7th place now for Team Haas USA, having dispatched Richard Coxon. 10th place is going to be challenging 9th in a moment here. As I mentioned earlier, Rocha is definitely looking at Sabre, trying to find a way to get up there. They've got a lapped car in front of them, which is getting out of the way, no problem. But I think your point about the track is well taken, Alberto, that it is a very narrow track. And I think we just witnessed there a second ago the consequences of that, with 2 cars trying to overtake a lapped car right at a hairpin, which was kind of an awkward situation.
Yeah, there was absolutely no space for a third car there. So, yeah.
I'm
so
surprised.
Meanwhile, Anders Nilsson just overtook Richard Coxon. Coxon is, I mean, the Benetton is quick, but it's going backwards in all the races for now. I mean, they will need to wait until the second half of the season when they get better upgrades and it becomes really a very competitive car. For now, it's a bit of a struggle, and Richard wasn't really happy at all with the car.
Well, he's just going to have to think about that as he's continuing here, because obviously, yeah, you're right. He starts up in the grid, and he's been falling back ever since. So,
oops, Bouchard and Grant was trying to squeeze thereby, but Grant did not allow it. I don't know if he actually put more boost, because he suddenly flew off. I'm not sure if it was that or that Bouchard simply lifted, seeing that he was not going anywhere. And these cars, I mean, the wings, they are not that efficient. So when you lift, it's like opening a parachute.
yeah.
I mean, just the aerodynamic is going to slow you down considerably. This one makes me wonder what's exactly Grant's strategy with all this. I mean, he was clearly willing to get the lead and go from there on, but I'm not really sure about why. I mean,
Yeah, what's the
does
point?
he want to? Yeah, did he want to block, impose his pace, and not allow Bouchard to go away so that he can control the race and save the fuel at the same time? Or was it simply that he was feeling he could be quicker on his target fuel, and Bouchard, when overtaking, realized that he could also do the same? I'm not sure about it. We should be seeing what they say in post-race.
Mysteries abound here at Imola as Bouchard follows Grant Radal out of the Ravazza, or the turn after Ravazza, actually, now into the Variante Bassa. They've got some lap cars in front of them here that they have to deal with, 3 actually, so this should prove interesting. Grant misses the chicane! Grant misses the chicane, and he's lost a lot of momentum, and there goes Jules Bouchard by into the lead. Once again, Jules Bouchard leads the San Marino Grand Prix once again.
Well, watch out, because this is probably going to be telling of what Grant is up to. Oh, look at that! I mean, he cranked up the boost. He really wants the lead.
Whoa! He's like,
he doesn't want to be. Yeah.
I do not want to be second. Thank you very much. Now they've come up to all these lap cars. Now the arrows there gets out of the way. Actually kicked up a bunch of dust earlier, but they were very lucky to get by everybody there. Now they're coming up to one of the Minardis. Oh my goodness, look at Jules on the inside there as they go through Piratella. That was a very daring move, and he's still after him. Look at that, 3 wide just for a split second, but Grant maintains the lead. My goodness, Bouchard still in second place. That was really too close for comfort.
Yeah, very delicate, because if you take the car out of the trajectory, he can easily hit the barrel.
And look who's benefiting from all of this. Juha has caught these 2 because of them dicing back and forth. So he's at... It's another 3-car freight train here. What an exciting race so far. Coming down to the Rivazza corner. And these cars are all right together. So Grant made a mistake there. at the last part of the Bassa chicane. So,
Yeah, and I'm
Grant's...
starting to think that his plan is actually to control the race there from the front.
All right.
So that's why he wanted to be there, because he probably fears that if Bouchard is able to go on his own pace, he's going to simply disappear. And now they are entering a war of boost, and this is not going
Oh
to
boy.
be good for any of them.
No, it's going to put their race in jeopardy as here comes Juha Boss trying to get by Bouchard, and he does. Bouchard down to third, but Bouchard's trying to fight back into Tosa on the outside. Fantastic stuff. And he does it. He gets it done. Bouchard maintains second place on the outside line. Fantastic driving.
The one who is now being the cool-minded, this is a very funny situation, is the theoretically hot Italian, because Gabriele Del Piccolo is basically leaning back. Oops, he just missed the chicken, but he's basically leaning back and having a look at what these guys are doing, and I have the feeling that he's just saying like, these guys are going to get killed. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm just going to wait here and reap the benefits.
Yeah, he's just hanging back there, just watching this drama unfold, and he's not going to get sucked into it. He doesn't want to, I'm sure. He's just watching it going, okay, I'm watching points. I'll see what happens here.
No, because all this cranking up the boost, I mean, the only thing that it's doing actually is making them waste a lot of fuel. I mean, they crank out the boost, they pass, or they make an error, they lose the position, crank the boost, go up, but then you have to brake harder and go there, block the position. And Gabriele, who is on stable boost and is not doing anything, is there. I mean, they are on the same pace. The main difference is that the three in the front are wasting a lot of fuel.
Yeah. Well, look at this. Now it looks like Jules is poised to make a try here. Well, no, I don't think so. It was close for a second, but then well, wait a minute. Here comes Boss. They're putting on a great show for us, but to your point, Alberto, how long can they maintain this show? It's only lap 16 right now out of 60. Yeah, GT Speedsters has great stuff.
Yeah, whatever the case, they have been increasing a bit the distance with Rai Ridal, for example, in KO Michiels, but I don't know, because the McLaren is so good at fuel use and was reeling in at the beginning of the race. I think that the top three are getting a bit carried away with their strategy and trying to be there at the front and control the race and all that. They are maybe not realizing how much fuel they are using and how much they are really leaving the rest of the people behind.
We didn't see it happen, but it appears that Ray Ridal got back in front of KO McKills, so Ray is now 5th with KO in 6th, but this battle is by no means over. KO keeping in close contact with Ray. I think Ray had an issue under braking there, and KO's right with him now in Rivazza.
Yeah, and Coxon is again in front of Anders Nilsson, so also something
okay.
happened there.
It's rare that you have a circuit that's this fun to drive, which has all these chicanes. I mean, it's fun to drive, obviously, without the chicanes. In the earlier format that would favor like 1960s F1 cars.
Oops. There goes Boss. What happened here?
Nope.
Well, I think he was trying to get enough angle or leverage to make a clean braking.
Let's have a look at a replay right here of coming out of Tamburello. He had a look for a minute there, but then decided it wasn't. Ooh, he came very close to contacting Jules' left rear tire. I guess he just thought better to stick back here for a while. We have a report here, I believe, from Matthew Sibignani. He says he couldn't work out the gearing on the Tyrrell. The new chassis drives like a dream, but the torque is gone now. So that's unfortunate. And he's pulling now for his teammate, Jakob Fredriksson. Meanwhile, the other team, Oscar, in the second... Actually, this is not a battle for position. He is stuck behind Francisco Amaral, who I believe had to make an early race pit stop. He's a lap down in 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And team would like to get by, but he's having some trouble. Team is in 11th place right now.
Yeah, and he has Luciano Rocha, who is 10th in front of Amaral, so that's what he is actually now targeting. And having Amaral in the middle is probably not very comfortable for him.
No, it's probably not. Yeah, Chacon is out of the race. We didn't see that happen, but that's unfortunate and kind of rare for him to DNF. Matthew is out of the race, as is Jan Kowalski and John Team. So 21 cars still running in the race. Grant's pulling out a little bit of a gap now, 2.6 seconds over Bouchard.
He is, yes, but if you look at the lap times, he actually hasn't been quicker. I mean, the last lap was actually slower than the cars that are following him. So that gives you a good idea of the rubber band effect that is happening here. Sometimes, I mean, they speed up, they get got back by the other car, they are hampering each other, and they're, in the end, they are not really progressing that much. I mean, now that there is a bit of a distance, that there is no striking distance between them, if they now settle on a rhythm, then it might start working out for them. Because, for example, Gabriele is now falling a bit behind, and he's going slightly slower in the lap times. And that, I think that this has happened just because the hostilities have ceased between these three.
Yeah, things have settled down, definitely. And they're not far away from each other, but they're not engaging in any silly stuff at this point. Stuff that, I mean, is going to cost them more fuel. There's Gilto being taken over by Bouchard. Makes plenty of room. So there's going to be likely one tire stop here for these drivers. And it'll be interesting to see what...
so, yes.
And it'll be interesting to see what compounds they put on. But definitely, this is a very interesting situation here because for the first two rounds, we expected quite a lot from the Brabham team, mainly because of Grant Radal being behind the wheel, I think it's fair to say. And they didn't have a very good start to the season. They had two really...
Whoops! Bouchard there missing the brake mark slightly. I think he's trying to catch up with Grant. He got closer.
But really, motor racing developments didn't have the open to the season they would have wanted. Now suddenly, here they are leading a race, and this is going to do wonders for the competitive nature of the points chart. That's for sure. But I wonder what the difference here is compared to the last two races. Same driver, same car. Something about Imola that Grant likes, or is he just trying to different...
Yeah, it might be something about Imola, but I think it's also a case of when you have a car that is so peculiar as the Brabham. I mean, it's not made for any compromises. It's basically a car built for speed and that. With all the setup options that are here, all the combination of tires, the boost and all that, I think it also takes a certain time. It takes so many races until the drivers really know what to do to make it go the quickest everywhere.
And they've had a couple of races to practice that, and we're seeing the results of that, of getting used to the car and getting used to what it can do and can't do. They're coming up now on one of the Zach speeds, but Bouchard's staying right there with him. This race is by no means over. 20 laps in, which is a third of the race gone. But yeah, everybody seems to be running in a very controlled manner now compared to the way they were running just a few minutes ago. Everybody seems to have realized, ooh, shoot, we do have to go 60 laps here, and you know, I might want to watch my fuel meter and the boost knob.
Yeah, and this is these are cars where a lot of restraint is actually needed because you have the boost button. It is so tempting, you know. Look, Bouchard now. What's he up to?
I think Del Piccolo. I think Del Piccolo is driving tactically probably the smartest race right now. He hasn't taken part in any of the shenanigans that have been going on in the top 3 positions. He's been placing himself just slightly outside of that group, and later on, after the pit stop, the fuel that he's saved by not engaging in that, he may be able to turn up the wick and really show his hand. Who knows?
Yeah, look, I mean, he has been steady as a Swiss clock in the last laps. I mean, before they had some traffic, but now I'm looking here at the lap times that he has been in the last one, and it's been 140.5, 140.4, 140.2, 140 dead, 139.5. So it's like, yeah, he's absolutely steady in a progression, and the only things that you can see in the previous laps is that he had some trouble probably with overtaking, back markers and all that, but look at what happened as soon as he got cleaner in front. I mean, he's really making it very regular, and you cannot say the same about the cars in front because they are like jo-joing, like I said, up and down, back and forward.
Yeah, I think I think Gabriel is the fox here. And I think we should be keeping one eye fixed on him. Oops, as he misses the chicane, and now I'm going to get all sorts of BS from the YouTube chat. Here it comes. Commentator's curse. Go right ahead. You know you want to say it. Just do it.
Uy, Grant, meanwhile following you, boss.
Whoa!
Something happened there.
Dang. He's in second place now, and Jules is in the lead. All right, we clearly need a replay here. Something happened.
Yeah, Juha was able to get in front, and Grant immediately responded, cranked up the boost, and say no thanks.
I want to see how Bouchard got in the lead here. I think a back marker might have been involved here. We're running it back so we can see.
Yeah, I had a glimpse at Grant basically ripping the adhesive off the side of the Saxby.
No, the curse is not real. Oh, yep, here they come. All the comments coming in now. So it looks like, I'm having to run back quite a ways here, but it looks like Brian Janik might have been unwittingly involved here. Or not, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm having to run this way back. But I want to know precisely what happened here. Okay, so Jules had already gotten by, or he was by Boss, as they go into, this takes us all the way back to the previous, oh, there is what happened right there. Okay, now the mystery is solved. Grant Riddall missed the chicane. He miscalculated on the Aqua Minerale chicane, bounded over the curbs, went through actually got all 4 wheels airborne, and that loss of momentum is what started the next chain of events. Bouchard starts to attack, gets by on the outside, going to Ravazza, and then he's in the lead. So it was another slight error on the part of Grant Riddall that caused Bouchard to get back in the lead. So not too many more of those, Grant. So in both instances, it's been a situation, as here comes Juha, powers by into second place. Grant's now down to third. Now we're back to the situation we had before with 2 Brabhams together, but Grant lost 2 positions there, and it all started with him bobbling in the Aqua Minerale where he's at right now, and he just went over the curb, all 4 wheels into the air, and that basically started the chain of events that gave us Bouchard back in the lead again.
Yeah, but that's basically the main difference now is that Bouchard is a good amount of real estate ahead. And in this situation, I mean, this is clearly what Grant wanted to avoid at all costs. That Bouchard has the clean track in front of him and is able to go merrily his way and settle on a pace where the Lotus might be unbeatable. So let's see what happens now if they try to catch up, or if maybe we see that Bouchard has to cut back due to the fuel use. Whatever the case, he's
Possibly.
coming now to lap traffic, and he's going to be lucky enough because I think he will be able to overtake them all in the main street, whereas the group that is following him is going to find those back markers in the more twisty section.
The cars he's coming up to lap here are Fernandez and Fredrickson.
Yeah, correct. And with some luck, he might. Nope, he will not make it in time.
Well,
Let's see if they notice that the leader is behind him. The blue flags will be waving. Yeah, good job by Ruben here. And I don't think he will have any trouble with Jakob. But the group that is following will be finding these cars in the chicanes, and that's not exactly ideal.
Yeah, he required the cooperation of.
Wait a moment, where is Grant? Grant made another error. He's now way behind Gabriele.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, something happened.
Yeah,
there.
something definitely happened here, and it happened at this is he went off the track at Tosa. So another error from Grant. What started out as a storybook race is turning into a nightmare here in some cases. Here he is coming down, totally locks it up, goes off, kisses the kitty litter, was very lucky to not lose momentum, and kept going. That put Del Piccolo up into third place. That's what happened to Grant. That's why he's fourth now.
Okay, much as I suspected, Bouchard has benefited big time from the lapped cars having been in between him and the pursuers in this twisty section. Now look at that. I mean, Juhabos hasn't been even able to overtake Jakob.
Yeah, there's a massive gap opening up. Now it's 3.5 seconds between Bouchard and Boss. But Bouchard definitely taking advantage of mistakes there by Grant Ridal to get back in front. But we have pit stops yet to come, and that will definitely change the complexion of this race, I'm sure. Don't forget that coming up next week, we go back pro car racing. Round 4 of 9, Sunday, February 26th. It's the support race for the 1980 British Grand Prix, but it's pro cars, and that ought to be a really interesting track to run on with these cars because of all the shifting weight and the high-speed corners and the elevation change. It'll make them diabolical, I think is a good word. That's next Sunday, 2000 CET. Bouchard continuing to lead, leading Boss now by 4 seconds and change.
Yeah, quite a big gap. He was very lucky there with the lapped cars.
Yeah, Boss is taking her easy now. Del Piccolo is in third. Fourth is Ridal. Grant. And then fifth is Ridal. Ray. KO all by himself in sixth place. Coxon's in seventh. And Nilsson is still right there with him in the Haas Lola. So it looks like that's leveled off for the time being. But those two are pretty close together as well. Saber, our points leader, not in the points, and he didn't have as rosy an outlook about this race as I thought he would. But he's ninth, so if he's going to make any points in this race, it's probably going to depend upon attrition at the front to get there. But and then Rocha is in 10th, the other Lotus. Oscar Team is in 11th, and Johnny Aces is up to 12th now. So he's been slowly rising through the field, but yeah, it's going to be a heck of a climb. We've seen him do incredible drives before from the back of the pack to finish second in Brazil, I believe.
Correct.
So he's capable of doing that. It's just, is this the kind of track that will allow him to do that? I don't know. We'll have to watch and see.
And I'm looking here at the lap times, and it's interesting that even if he has had now clean air and all that, Bouchard is, for example, not doing quicker times than 10 laps before. So maybe he has started realizing the problem with the fuel, or maybe it's just all the issues with the lapped cars and all that. We will see in the next one. But It will surprise me that they are starting to realize that they cannot go on at this pace because we're not even half the race. So you have now a good visual without making any mental calculations. From the 60 lap, when you arrive to 30, you should have about half the fuel tank. So they will now probably be starting to be aware of how many liters they have left and what's going on there. And
Well,
yeah,
you
the car is getting light, but
you loved that one quote from Mike Tyson, which is what? Uh,
yeah, everybody has a plan until they get the first punch in the nose.
exactly, and then that goes out the window. I was watching a NASCAR race earlier today, a vintage one from 1990, and they interviewed Ernie Irvan before the race, and they asked him what he's learned. He was just becoming a big star on the circuit, and they asked him what he'd learned so far. As Coxon goes into the pits, and that will promote Anders to 7th place. So Coxon is stopping. I'm sure this is a scheduled stop for tires
Yeah,
at
and
this
he
point.
has gone to super softs. He has gone
right.
to super softs, and I'm thinking that with the Benetton is the case that he wasn't happy. I mean, the first part of the races are always lackluster for the Benetton, and as soon as they put the second set of tires, everything seems to start to work much better for them.
All
So I
right.
think that this is a car that doesn't really like at all to be heavy and ungainly when they are on the full tank. And it's in this second part of the race when they start to make the most of the chassis with the softer tires and being able to stretch the legs better.
Finishing that anecdote I was saying about Ernie Irvan, they asked him what was the one thing he had learned, and he said patience. And he said,
Yeah.
but by the same token, he says it's the easiest thing to forget. You learn it, you understand it, but when you get in the car and you're in battle with somebody, it's easy to forget patience. So, I mean, I think that's what's going on at the front, or was. Now they've settled down, so I think they're starting to be much more conscious of what's going on as far as fuel economy. But
Yeah, and for example, the last lap by Jules Bouchard, now he has gone a bit more up in the pace, no longer into 140s, but not that far away, 139.7 something, okay?
okay,
Whereas in the case of Gabriele Del Piccolo, who has been running a much steadier race than everybody, he just did 139.5. So he was zero point 0.2 quicker than the poleman, and I don't think this is just a coincidence. It's probably the fact that he has been using the fuel in a much more regular way than the three in the top have been doing so far. Well, no longer granted the top, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm sure our sharp viewers do too. Saber's up to 8th now. He was, I think that's due to Coxon's pit stop. Yeah, Coxon now down to 10th. He just barely fended off Oscar Team, who tried to make it by, but just couldn't do it. So we'll have to keep a close eye on the front runners here. We're coming to the midway point of the race. Eventually, we will be seeing pit stops. I'm surprised, actually, that we haven't seen any. I mean, we saw Coxon, obviously, but I'm surprised he's the only one so far. I would have thought there would have been others.
Yeah, we have seen in previous races, for example, how light the Lotus is on the tires.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we
Bouchard has
go.
been
Grant
able to-
Riddall into the pits. Grant Riddall making his stop. Up goes the
Let's
car.
see. Super softs for him all around.
All right. So he's going to go for it here.
Yeah,
Little-
I think with the lighter car, he is probably willing to risk it. He has gone for the softest possible tires, and he is like, I mean, for him, it's probably now all or nothing. He wants to be
Yeah.
quick. He wants to have a responsive car, and if he doesn't make it to the end, well, he will go down with a fight.
Well, I mean, that was his strategy, I think, about, oh my goodness, Bouchard is pulled off the track for a second. What was that? He slowed for a moment and went across the grass at Aqua Minerale. I don't know what that was about. Let's take a look at a replay here. He comes down to Aqua Minerale. I think he just locked up. And he calmly lets the car roll through the grass and back onto the track. So that could have been worse, but
Yeah, there goes his hard-earned advantage.
Yeah,
over
he
Juha.
doesn't want to be doing that too many times. Well, Boss is still about a second, or actually a little closer to 2 seconds back from Bouchard. So now heading into the Variante Basta again, but you now can see Juha in the same shot with Bouchard. He's not in a position to challenge him right now. Both these gentlemen are probably thinking more about long-term race strategy here instead of the any immediate battles, as they're coming up now to lap one of the Minardis, I believe. Yes. Although Boss, look at him, he's got a real head of steam coming up through Tamburello and Villeneuve here as they hit Tosa.
He might have, because he has now Bouchard in range, but I can tell you that all his laps so far, the last 15 laps or so have been in 140s. I mean, he really is cutting it back, probably due to the fuel use. Whereas in the case of Gabriele, he has been doing 139s repeatedly. So, like I said, better fuel management for him, likely because of not having been involved in those fights.
Now he's got a good situation here, Jules does, because he's got Drexler definitely held up, and there's Santo now, so there's 2 Minardis here, but Jules is having a lot better luck with traffic here than Boss is having. Boss was trapped behind Drexler for several corners there, and now he's got to deal with Santo, so the gap balloons back close to 2 seconds.
And it seems that the next car to the pits might be Right Vidal, who is signaling it now.
Okay. Give us
and
a glimpse
he's in
of...
fourth, by the way.
Yes, he is.
With all the things that have happened, pit stops and that, he's in fourth. Let's see, because he's 10 seconds ahead of Grant, who has done already the tire change. Let's see where this puts him, if the pit stop is quick enough.
Into the pits comes Ray Riddall.
And
Makes a stop.
it's super soft at the rear and soft at the front. So
All
he
right.
seems to be leaning more on the fronts and overheating them a bit more. Let's see. This is not the quickest pit stop.
No, he's having a slow getaway here. Maybe he missed a shift. But there goes Ray back into the action.
Grant clearly gets ahead. Keio we already expected, but it's a matter now of seeing when it's his turn to change the tires.
So Ray exits the pits right at the last points paying position, 6th. And just behind him in 7th is Anders Nilsson. Could we see another point scored by Team Haas USA? Very likely. Could happen here. We'll see. Coxon is in 8th. That's pretty decent, actually, after his pit stop, and considering what he's been dealing with. If late race attrition starts to happen, engines or fuel usage related.
Bouchard, error again.
Oh my goodness, Bouchard has spun out, loses the lead. Boss has gone into first place. There goes the 3rd place car of Del Piccolo. Bouchard is now down to 3rd. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this error is going to cost him badly. I don't know if he
Big
had to
time
do with
replay.
the tires.
He went off at Ravazza, spins the car 180 degrees.
Del Piccolo goes in the pits. Bouchard doesn't want. Let's see what Del Piccolo does. Super soft for Del Piccolo all around, and I think this was a very good move by Gabriele. It probably was scheduled, but right now even if he had overtaken Bouchard, letting him go now is not really that bad, because Bouchard is constantly making errors. Del Piccolo is very well aware of that, and I would say that Bouchard is nearly cow. You know, it's like one of those boxers that has received one of those hits that has left them dazzling and confused. And Del Piccolo now on fresh tires is probably on the best position possible to consolidate that.
And so the Tifosi now go nuts again. Jules Bouchard having suffered a spin, promoting Juha Boss into first place once again. So we've seen this is the most lead changes we've seen in a race so far this year, by a long shot. Now you start to wonder when Juha is planning to pit for tires. Meanwhile, his teammate is up to 11th, so Johnny Aces continues his slow march to the top again.
Actually, Jonathan is right now in the pits.
Jonathan is in the pits right now. Okay, so that...
And he has put softs.
All right, now I'm probably correct in assuming that these cars only have, or the team only has one slot in the pit lane.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so that means that the Ferrari team's got to be on their tippy toes again, because here comes their second car of Juha Boss from the lead. He drops to second place. Jules goes into the lead once again.
Yes, per usual Formula One rules, you get a pit stall, so you have to coordinate with your teammate if you want to go into the pits.
So Juha Boss is in
very
third
quick
now.
Stop. Very quick stop for Juha.
So Grant Riddall is promoted to second place, and that puts Jules Bouchard in front again. Be interesting to see when these two decide to pit. Boss down to fourth. But, well, Grant is already pitted, right?
I think so.
Yes, so
I think so. Yeah, he got it in. Oh, he did a blistering lap to recover some ground. Yeah, he pit in lap 28.
Right. So,
but now he's again going slower.
So
for
now,
use, obviously.
Yeah. So now the question becomes, when is our leader going to come into pits? Bouchard, who's driven a good race so far, but has had a few issues throughout, which have caused the top of the order to shuffle here and there. But heading now into the Variante Alta is Grant. Bouchard is at Ravazza while this is going on.
Well, the interesting thing is that with the three Porschers having pit, Del Piccolo was able to stay ahead of Juha Boss after the pits. 1 second, I mean, look at that. Juha is right behind him, but yeah, he was able to go in front.
Oh my goodness!
There comes Juha.
Yeah, he wants to try to get. He was looking into the Variante Bassa, but thought better of it then.
No leverage from that position, no angle enough to make it through the corner. And let's see if he cranks now up the boost or if he's happy to follow Del Piccolo. I'm not sure. Whatever the case, I don't think that Del Piccolo is going to get involved into any unnecessary scrap. Now, Juha is staying behind. I think Juha is by now quite concerned with the flow. I can tell it from the lap times that he has been doing. He got sucked into all those battles and probably he's now regretting it.
Yeah, that could very well be the case.
Let's see how it goes for Mr. Bouchard. I'm looking at him in the front.
Shaping up to be a very good day for the Brabham team, which they sorely needed after two lackluster starts to the 1986 campaign. Now they're running second and third respectively after their pit stops, and Jules is going to be due in the pits at some point here. And it's not
wait a moment. I mean, I have here a record of a very slow lap of Jules on 31 while we were watching other things. Maybe he did pit then, and I missed it.
Maybe. Especially if the first sector is very slow.
Oh, and Oscar team seems to have also abandoned with a crash.
Oh, shoot.
Suspension, yeah.
Yeah, Ruben Fernandez is also out of the race. I was looking at the qualifying chart for this race, and the Live Racers chart has built into it a thing that tells you how many are outside the 107%, which is not a rule that was followed in F1, but good grief, if it was, a lot of people would have been in trouble. The speed differential from top to bottom was huge. Like half of the team were above the 107% rule. So that was pretty eye-opening for me. Well, assuming that Jules has pitted, now he's in a position here. He's got to really mind his P's and Q's. Keep that Brabham duo behind him if he wants to score his second win in a row here. But he's been very lucky this race too. I mean, he had those that spin which cost him dearly, and he also had that little bit of a runoff at Aqua Minerale.
I think that the slow lap by Bouchard must have been the one where he did the spin. I don't think that he has spit yet.
That must have been it.
10 seconds is not the difference of the pit stop. No, I don't think so.
Into the pits comes Bruno Paggiola. This is one of the Team Haas entries, and he is there's a guest drive for him. He's in 12th place at the moment, having a pretty good ride.
Juha still there behind Del Piccolo. It's the two cars that are the closest, but I think that Juha is at this point quite happy to just follow Del Piccolo and wait and see if anything happens.
Yeah, he's close to him now, but you're right. I think that it's not a very smart thing to engage in a battle with Del Piccolo at the moment. Show and tell time later on when we get close to the end, but it's assuming they have something to use at the end here. But look, he's getting close again.
Yeah, but look a bit behind where Ray Riddle is. He's catching up with them. Now here's the situation where the McLaren is shining. When we are past half the race and everybody is already scared of the issues with the fuel. And Ray is now 2 seconds behind them. Let me see what the lap times are. Wow, he did 138.8 in the last one. For Juha Boss it was 139.43. So
interesting.
Yeah, Rai is coming very quick from behind. I think that, like I said, half race is a milestone for everybody. You can look then at how much fuel you have in the tank, and if you have at least half the tank, then you know that you can go quicker, because the car is now much lighter, so you are not going to use the same amount that you used in the first half of the race.
But look at Juha still right there with Del Piccolo. I don't know, he looks like he's going to try to make a shot here coming up to Tamburello. Now he tucks back in behind.
No, maybe he's trying to scare Del Piccolo into using boost.
It may be.
Maybe he has realized that Rai is coming.
I'm thinking he's just playing with Del Piccolo at this moment, just making sure he's aware that he's right there. Head games, I think, is a little bit of what's going on here.
It's hard to tell, but whatever the case, you know, one of the most annoying situations that you can be as a race driver is when you know that you have a bit more pace, just that small bit, you know, than the car in front, and that he's hampering you. But the effort of overtaking is not really at your reach, either because of speed or fuel use or whatever. And if Juha sees that he could be marginally quicker than the rhythm that the Piccolo is setting, and at the same time he's seeing Rai Vidal approach from behind, he must be fuming.
Yeah, Ray is right there, not very far away. Oh, a little bit of a lockup there from Del Piccolo. So maybe the pressure's starting to get to him just a tad. Oh my goodness. Juha closed right up behind Del Piccolo there. Almost, they're very close to contact, but nothing happened.
And Bouchard is now also venturing into the 138s. Clearly his car has the legs and is capable of that. I'm still wondering about the fuel. We will see if he comes to one of those situations where he has to be a tortoise towards the end of the race, crawling to make it to the finish, and everybody gets to overtake him.
We'll find out.
We will. There's certainly a big gap now with Grant. He can be very comfortable, so at least whatever he has to do be it saving fuel or whatever, he can do it comfortably without being pressed by someone.
The rest of the field is
Very-
pretty well spread out. There's not much going on back through the field here. Last car running is Gilles Taux with 33 laps complete. Or he's on lap 33 right now. Yeah, the rest of these cars are all pretty much running alone.
Quite a challenge to bring that Osella to the finish line.
Yeah, if that Osella makes it to the end, that's going to be a feat and a half. Not the most reliable of cars, that Osella.
No, it's basically a rolling barbecue.
What did they used to call the Renaults in the 70s?
The teapots?
The yellow teapot, because eventually it would go off and start steaming. Oh, look, here comes
there
Juha.
goes Juha.
On the outside, going into, well, thinking about it, but no, he's not going to do it here. But man, is he definitely built up some momentum as we look at the chopper shot here. Coming up now to Villeneuve Curve. Whoa! Yeah, Juha definitely, whatever steam he had going there, he just let off going into Tosa.
Yeah, I think he's basically not touching at all the push knob. And it was just a case of him having a better exit than Del Piccolo at the last turn, which gave him a bit more of a run.
Yeah.
But he didn't really want to push it, so nothing happened there.
Well, he's keeping pace with him now as they head into the.
Yeah, well, Del Piccolo is already
chicane.
slowing down to try to. Okay, good one. And great coordination by Gilles.
Yeah, he did a
That
great
was
job there
very
getting out of the way.
swiftly done.
Let's look at
Yep.
Juha now. He's on the outside, kind of the wrong spot going into this corner. But ooh, very close.
Well, Juha has already something dangerous looking in the mirror, so it's no wonder that he is not willing to get hampered.
Oh my, there he goes. He's up. Well, he was for a minute. That was a foreshortened shot. You couldn't really see it, but he's right with Del Piccolo now. And Del Piccolo, if he's not sweating by now, he should be. And the Tifosi, I'm sure,
good
are
exit,
just
good exit
urging
there,
on.
but
Very good exit. Here comes Juha. Oh, it's contact and into the grass. Has just brief contact with. Oh my goodness! And there is it looks like. Yeah, Del Piccolo lost 2 positions there. Let's see the replay as they're
Right
coming
made it
into the
through.
corner. Yeah, right there. And there's contact here between them into the grass. And Ray slips through into 4th place. So that was
and this is not over. This is not over because Rai is now trying to make it 2 birds with a single stone.
Yeah. That was very unfortunate, though, for Del Piccolo. He just, Ray, or I'm sorry, Juha was just clambering all over the back of him and finally got alongside, but it was at a very awkward point, and he really didn't have him completely covered, but still managed to, both cars going through the.
Yeah, well, let's wait and see because I have the feeling he might have a second shot. Longer down the race because Juha is really, I mean, I can see how cautious he's being with the fuel. So it wouldn't surprise me if he has to even slow down a bit more towards the end of the race.
Ko McKeels has retired from the race. Engine.
Oops.
So there goes KO. Last hope of the and Amaral is also out. So the Williams team is out of the San Marino Grand Prix. No points for them this time around.
Bouchard signaling pits now.
Okay, okay, this is what I thought. I thought you were right when you said that was probably when he spun. I was thinking, yes, that's what it must have been. So now Bouchard is going to go into the pits. Grant, this is his
and
golden...
looking at the distance, yes, Grant is going to go ahead. And unless I'm timing it wrong, very probably he's going to fall into the clutches of Juha and Rai as soon as he exits the pits.
All right. Well, this is the moment that Grant has been waiting for. He has the opportunity to win a Grand Prix on the plate. He just has to take it now. And Jules will be heading to the pits at the end of this lap. We'll see what happens. How far down the order he falls. But
Well, whatever the case, remembering that he will be coming out of the pits with fresh tires for the last 20 laps.
Yes. So great effort by Jules. You know, in spite of having difficulty and making a couple of errors here and there, but this really is the elite series that we run here at ISO. You cannot, if you make a mistake, it costs you dearly in this series. And you're looking at our most proficient
Oops,
drivers.
no.
Oh, well, okay, he's not going to go into pits. Interesting.
I don't know if that was the right call. But, well, he can dispose of this lap car here easily, so maybe that's why he did it.
I don't know, because if he goes in the pits and takes a stop, he'll eventually have to meet the same car again. So I don't know what the logic would be there. But in any case,
Well, he has been going quick enough, I can tell you.
Yeah.
The last three laps were in 38s, in high 38s. So Grant himself has been doing well. He even ventured into the 37s. So he's really sprinting. He probably senses that Jules has to go somewhere into the pits. So
yeah, here's Grant. He's not far behind. He's only 4 seconds behind Jules at this point. Driving Elio.
also two blistering laps for Juha. Two very quick laps in 37s.
Okay.
The only one that has not ventured into the 37s yet, or the 38s for that matter, is Gabriele Del Piccolo. He's doing 39s. I don't know, I have the feeling he might be saving some boost for the end, but we will see.
All right, so here comes
See
Jules.
now, if Bouchard, yep, if he goes now in.
Maybe.
Well, for sure he's quick enough, so we'll see what he does.
And yes, here
Yeah.
comes Jules into the pits now.
Whoa!
He is going in as quick as he can. He wants to save every second he can. Up goes the car on the jacks.
Here comes Grant.
Grant takes the lead of the San Marino
There
Grand Prix.
comes the Ferrari now and the McLaren, and let's see. Oh, this is a very long pit stop. Very long, very long. There you go.
And Juha goes
One,
into second place.
2.
Ridal third.
So, just as I predicted, he was, well, banging there with these cars.
All right, so Jules exits the pits in fourth place. Ray has been promoted to third. Juha is second. And Grant Ridal is a very solid first with 11 seconds between himself and Juha Boss. So we'll watch that number. We'll see what happens here. Closing stages of the San Marino Grand Prix.
Okay, so now the question is, we know that Grant can be incredibly quick. I mean, he has already clocked a 37. Questions now are, will he have enough fuel, and will the BMW engine last? And I'm starting to think that he had his car very much set up for this part of the race, for the light one, because I can see how quick he's going through the chicanes, and even better than that, he's going very solidly. I mean, with no apparent handling issues or anything. So
Oh no,
maybe that's why he wanted to be in the lead.
Jonathan Asserclint is out of the race for some reason. Not sure why, but it's too bad.
Yeah, having to make up for the deficit in the position probably just took too big of a toll. Whoa, Grant. Powering out Grant out of the chicane, sideways completely.
Yeah, no, he's got that 11 seconds. Now watch, here comes the other three, and they're right together. Ray Ridal and Jules Bouchard all right together. Jules starting to close in on the back of Ray Ridal.
Yeah, but remember, from all these cars, the McLaren has by far the best advantage in terms of fuel use.
That's true. Ray getting very close to Boss right now.
No, I still think that Ray in this position has good chances of winning the race because the reliability of the BMW is unknown. And in terms of fuel use, this is the better car here, so if the others have to crawl to a halt towards the end of the race, Rai is the only one that will be able to keep the pace.
If someone crawls to a halt at the end of the race, one driver that may benefit is, well, Coxon is now in the points now in 6th place, so fantastic drive for him. And Luciano Rocha is in 7th in the other Lotus. So if something happens to somebody towards the end here, these are drivers that could definitely capitalize, as would Anders Nilsson, who's in 8th. So there are people here who could take advantage of that situation, of those early battles that were exciting to watch, but maybe could turn out to be quite expensive. We'll see.
Whoops. Jules now climbing up the walls.
Grant passing the...
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be able to get closer. He doesn't seem to be able to get closer to Rai. Actually, he's falling behind. So it could very well be that he has started to see what's going on with the fuel. So the distance seemed to be stable, and I think we could quickly run down the grid and see what cars are still in the race, what the position of everybody is.
Sure, let's start at the very front. This is a grid run through right now. Not a grid run through, the race run through. Grant Riddall is in front right now, 10.7 seconds. So the gap is kind of leveling out. Next back is Juha Boss for Ferrari, and he is being shadowed by Ray Riddall in the Marlboro McLaren International entry of KK Rosberg, number 2. 4th, Jules Bouchard, who was leading the race for a good chunk of it in his Lotus. 5th is Gabriel Del Piccolo, Motor Racing Developments. 6th is Richard Coxon, Benetton Formula. 7th is Luciano Rocha, and he is also driving a Lotus, and possibly looking to score a point here if someone has a...
Yeah, very close. Luciano very close to Richard.
Yeah,
all the race has been there, yes.
8th is Anders Nilsson, Team Haas. 9th is David Saber, Marlboro McLaren. So he didn't have high hopes for this race, and maybe that feeling was justified. 10th is Bruno Paggiola for Team Haas in this one-off drive for him. 11th is Jakob Fredriksson in his Tyrrell. 12th is Brian Janik in the Zach Speed, number 14. 13th is Mikael Drexler for Team Minardi. And those are the last cars running. Or wait, hang on, there's one more. Santo's out of the race. He hasn't scored as a DNF yet, but he's out of the race. Jonathan is out of the race in 15th. And Gilles Taux is the last car running down the race, 4 laps adrift of the field.
Yeah, but still in the race.
But still in the race. We'll have to check.
Whoa, there goes Bouchard. Oh, kamikaze maneuver. My goodness, he just overtook Rai Riddall. It was very brave.
Well, let's take a look at a replay here after they get out of Tosa.
Oh, and now he misses the chicane, and Rai gets poetic justice, I think.
Well, here he goes by. We'll see the entire thing now. Oh goodness, he shoulders his way by at Piratella. Yeah, that was very daring of Bouchard. And now we're going to probably see what happens. The poetic justice you just mentioned. Yeah, Jules runs over the curb into the grass and gives it right back to
I think
Ray.
He probably cooked the tires up in that maneuver, and then the grip wasn't there when he went to the chicane.
Santo reporting engine failure for his retirement. So we've been talking a lot about fuel usage, but engine management is also something that could bite some people in the end here. It's already bitten Santo, and it could bite a few more people. Who knows? It may be what bit Jonathan. We don't know. In fact, hang on one second here. Jonathan is in the booth. Jonathan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, unfortunately.
Oh, there you are. Well, we were watching your march from the back there, but unfortunately you couldn't finish the race. What happened in the end?
I had a couple of, pretty hectic weeks. I had a lack of practice, and I knew the general limits, but sadly I overdid it just a tiny bit coming out of the last chicane, and I did half a Hakkinen, sorry. put just a bit of my throttle on the probably half a tire on the curb, and it just spat me right.
Well, sorry to hear that, but you're in good company. There's a lot of people here who've been finding this track difficult, so they just didn't manage to impact a wall. There's been a lot of missed chicanes here and there, which have directly resulted in change of position. Bouchard looks like he's coming up now, possibly to attempt to pass again on Ray, but not here. It's not going to happen. Although Ray does lock up, this may be a chance for Jules heading to the Bassa. But
and I notice all of them are closing in on our current leader, Grant, as well.
Slowly, though. I mean, last lap it was 10.7 seconds, the gap. Now it's 10.3. So if they really want a challenge for the lead, they're going to have to get on their horse and do it. Now Bouchard looks like he's got a bit of a roll on Ray Radal here. Let's see if he can make something happen before they hit Villeneuve. No, it doesn't look like it.
Now Ray has to go after the McLaren. The McLaren is the Ferrari is quite a bulky car.
It is, and your teammate carrying the hopes of the Tifosi now. He led for a bit. I'm sure you could hear the cheers over the engine sound for a bit, but now he's trying to maintain second place and keep Ray behind him. We've been talking about, oh my goodness, Ray makes a slight error there. Now is Bouchard going to capitalize? Yes, he is. He goes straight by into Aqua Minerale and runs promptly off the track, giving it right back to Ray.
How he returned the favor.
Yeah, I mean, that was a replay of last lap. In a way, because Jules just has a lot of difficulty with that chicane. For some reason, you just cannot get the car slowed down. Now he goes by Ray. What's going on here? Did Ray miss a shift or something?
I think so.
I think that's what happened. But now
I think so.
Bouchard's back into third place now.
Yeah, but the dangerous part about missing a shift is hitting the red limiter. Because that's what basically kills your engine.
So, we were talking about, Jonathan, also how, the first two races did not go well for Brabham. They would qualify well, and then the race would just not pan out well. It looks to us as if, through some masterstroke of planning here, Grant has set up his car just for this part of the race, and he's placed himself in a really, really fantastic situation where he's in the lead when it counts, and he's paying out this lead that he has. To your point, it is decreasing. It is down to 9.4 seconds, or 9.5 almost. So this time by we'll be starting lap number 50. So it'll be 11 laps to go, but it'll be interesting to see as he tries to find a way by Gilles Taux if he can pay out this lead without losing it.
I think it's also sort of the first circuit where their car is working the way it wants to work as well.
Well, the challenge is setting up this Brabham to drive well on a track that has a lot of corners, and as we've already stated many times, this is not a car designed for tracks with a lot of corners. It's designed for high-speed tracks. So,
indeed, but pretty much all the turns on this track is one and the same kind of corner.
Yeah. So we'll have to watch and see if Grant can maintain it. He's going to hit the line here, and we're going to find out a little bit from here.
Oh God, just had a massive loose. In behind you, huh?
And the gap is down to 8 seconds, so it is closing quickly here. We could have a dynamite finish to this race. We'll see. It also depends on fuel levels. I mean, we can't look in the car and see how much fuel they have. We don't know. Grant was involved in some early battles that were... What?
Bouchard just got ahead of Juha, but it was really, really like he nearly rear-ended him. It was very well timed.
Well,
yeah, that sort of felt like either you move out of the way or I'll shove you out of the way kind of.
That was kind of the way it went with Radal earlier, and this time he makes the Aqua Minerale without any trouble and maintains his position. So That's been his difficulty the last few laps. He gets the position and then loses it on that corner. But looks like he's solidly got second place now. The gap is back up to 8.2 seconds. No surprise because there was dicing going on there. But we'll see what it is when they come around to start lap number 51, which means 10 laps to go.
Whatever the case, all these fights between Bouchard, Boss, and Ray Ridal just are benefiting Grant, because as long as they are hampering each other, they are not making progress, or they are making it at a slower rate.
Well, he seems solidly ahead now, and now he can focus on going after Grant. The gap is down to 6.8 seconds, so the fight is on now for the lead. Jules is going for it. He wants to catch that Brabham and score another victory for JPS.
Well, it almost looks like he is doing I want to get in front, and then he'll probably need to save a bit of fuel, because unless he's been saving a lot of fuel, he's burning it off now.
Now the gap is all the way up to 8.1 seconds. So I think that's just the accordion effect happening with one of these where they arrive at Tosa maybe. But
well, two laps ago, Bouchard for the first time ventured into the 36.
Oh.
So yeah, he's speeding up, and Grant instead, you know what? He did 138 in both two laps. Yeah, because I mean, it's obvious. I mean, they speed up one lap and they immediately get scared, and they know that they have to compensate for that.
All right, well, yeah, the gap is now 7.5 seconds.
So yeah, Bouchard is definitely speeding up, but question is, will he have enough fuel at the end? You had it, for example, 2 laps in 37s, and then immediately he lifted off, and it's 39s for him.
Okay, we got a yellow flag in this part of the track. Not sure why. Yes, there is a car off the track, and that appears to be Brian Janik. Brian Janik out of the race. Unfortunate. My guess is that would be engine related, but
Grant is now overtaken in Tamburello, Anders. I mean, he's not really waiting at all. He knows that he's being hunted down.
Yeah, 6.5 seconds now.
Set another fastest lap that lap. 36.
Yep.
And this is a relief for Anders, because this means basically one more lap of fuel without him really losing his relative position to whoever he's fighting in the front.
Meanwhile, look at Ray. He's right with Juha.
Yeah, so it's also Rocha with Coxon. I mean, this has been an ongoing battle for the whole race. Oh, yellow flag here. There's a car stranded there on the side. Who is that? Okay, that is... okay, that's Brian Janik.
Yeah, it's
He's
Janik.
still there.
Has not abandoned the car yet.
Right, so 6.5 seconds between Grant and Bouchard, but that's 9 laps to go.
Yeah, he's not catching up with the clip he would need.
Yeah, Bouchard is again in the 36s. But Grant also responded with the same lap time, so I don't know. I mean, they are playing it in the distance. They are watching each other's lap time and the gains or the losses in time to each other, but I think they are also playing chicken, because if they do this, they might very well run out of fuel. So,
all right, here's oh my goodness, that was close. Grant overtaking one of the Haas Lolas as they come into Tosa now, and here we'll give you a bit of an idea of the distance. That was the leader, and here comes a bunch of lap cars, and then Bouchard in second, 6 seconds dead behind. And now look at this. Boss having to defend himself against Ray Ridal. He was very close, so he almost got by going into Tosa. Up the hill again goes Grant.
Bouchard now has found 2 cars in a very bad zone. That's going
that's going to
delay
cost him.
That's actually both Haas. Although they are in very different positions.
If Grant wins this race, it will be the third different winner this year, third different constructor win this year so far. Oh, Bouchard locks it up again going into Ravazza. Thankfully, he does not go off into the grass. He is very, very determined to close this gap.
Yeah, not leaving anything on the table.
No, he's not leaving anything on the table. He is pushing for all he can. He wants that win. He wants to catch the car at least, or at least keep Grant honest. Crossing the line now. The gap's down to 4.2 seconds. So expect Grant to reply with some kind of fast lap of his own coming up here.
And this is interesting because I'm looking at Grant's cockpit, and from at the end of the main straight, the point where you got the top speed, he was in 6th gear. So as far as I can tell, his car must have 7 gears. So I'm not sure why he's not using all of them. Probably he thinks he's losing time using them. See what the Piccolo does. Yeah, the Piccolo is in 7th gear, clearly. But Grant is only using 6.
Sorry about that. We had a slight picture interruption for a moment there, but we're back live now. Not sure what that was. Guess I've reached the top end of my of what I can put out in my my graphics card right now. I've been flirting with the top end, trying to provide the best picture I can for our audience, and I think I found where the ceiling is just now.
One of those things. It's good to know where the limit is.
Jakob Fredriksson is also out of the race, unfortunately. And what's the gap now? 3.5 seconds, so it is coming down very fast here, and we've got 6 laps to go. Now, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60.
So, and following on what I was commenting, I was just watching Grant. Yeah, he's indeed using 6 gears instead of 7 as Del Piccolo. And what he's doing is that he has very close ratio between the 5 first gears, and he has a long 6 gear that he puts then to make to stroll along on lower RPMs towards the end of the straight. And if he needs it, then he cranks up the boost, and that 6 gear becomes immediately a killer. So that's interesting. Very different way of setting up the car than his teammate. But Bouchard has already a visual on him. There's many positions that can be traded towards end of the race, because there's Rai very close to Juha Boss. Bouchard hunting down Grant Ridal. Ah! There goes David Saber also past Del Piccolo. Ah no, that was a lapped situation.
Yeah, it's a lapped car. All right, so Grant is now entering the stadium section, and he spins the car! Grant spins the car! No! Jules goes into the lead! Oh my goodness! Disaster here with only 5 laps to go! And Grant Ridal is down to 2nd place after spinning the car coming out of the very end of Bassa. Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
And watch out, because he has no momentum, and he and Juha and Rai might very well be passing him. Oh, and with Drexler in front, that's going to be tight.
Lapping Drexler. Onto the grass goes Grant. Juha on the outside takes the position. Juha goes into 2nd place. High drama here at the end of the race.
So Grant probably feeling the pressure, just used a bit too much throttle there. And now the question becomes, does Jules have enough fuel to make the last bit of the race without losing too much time to the rest?
Incredible action in this race and high drama. Unbelievable.
Well, he has 8 seconds advantage, so he can manage it in the 5 remaining laps, but we will see.
Jules must be hardly believing his luck in this situation, but if he manages to keep it together, My goodness. And Grant must be kicking himself right now. He had the
Oof.
opportunity.
Well, I think he will be first kicking Juha. Wait and see because. Wait and see because I think he's absolutely now on fire. Yeah.
Oh, he's got the red mist. He's not happy. He's like, if I can't have second place.
Yeah, and Juha is, I'm betting that Juha is right now already thinking on what's going to happen in the main straight.
Yeah. As they head for, this is where it happened before. He's not going to let it happen again. Going into lap 57. 4 laps to go.
Quite some distance here. I don't think that Grant can use the boost, but we will see. This is the point where he speed ups a lot. That's when he puts the 6th gear. It's interesting. He probably cranks up. Oh, yeah.
Look at this. Here he goes.
Very great blocking by Juha. Very, very good. Very swift. I mean, he didn't change the lane at all, and yet he absolutely managed to predict what Grant was up to and block it. Very good move. Grant will now have to wait for another opportunity. I don't think that his car is really suited to trying to overtake the more agile Ferrari in this section. He must force Juha into an error.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen now, but my goodness, what an exciting race this has been from start to finish. I figured it would be. Drivers putting themselves in absolutely diabolical situations trying to get by, driving at the absolute minute. This race has definitely delivered on Vance Billing. There's Ray Riddall in 4th place, who's driven a beautiful race. Del Piccolo in 5th also has driven a beautiful race. And Luciano Rocha in 6th, where he was at in the previous race. Coxon, has to be said, nice recovery drive after he had some difficulty earlier. Looks like he's possibly going to come home 7th, unless something crazy happens here in the end. But look at this. Look at this! Grant zips by into 2nd place. And he made that look fairly easy there.
Well, it is easy with boost. The question is, will he have enough fuel? Juha's power enough.
Juha's coming back now.
I think that's the difference. He boosts back for the rest of the track. I think Juha is keeping a more consistent boost for the whole lap, similar to. I think Bouchard might have been using the same kind of strategy that Grant is doing.
Oh, that's too bad.
Grant probably basically goes up with a boost in every single lap on that last stretch of the main straight where he's using that long 6th gear.
Well, unfortunately, Bruno Paggiola is out of the race in his guest drive for Haas.
So close to the finish.
Yeah, it's really, there are 2 times you don't want to go out of a race. Right at the beginning and right at the end. Those hurt the most.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so Grant looks like he's going to have to come up with another strategy here to get by Juha, but... and Grant runs off the track again, and this is going to cost him another position, it looks like.
No, he's stopping the car?
No, he's stopping the car. He's actually... That's strange.
Did his engine go, maybe?
Did his engine let go, maybe? I don't know. Let's look. Let's listen.
Engine. Indeed. Engine, indeed.
Right.
What a rotten piece of luck
That
for
is
him.
really too bad because it looked like everything was going to come right for Brabham in the best possible way after 2 lackluster races, and that's not the case. Drexler also in the pits, not sure what that's about, but Grant definitely out of this race, and that's going to promote his teammate to 4th place, Rocha to 5th place, and Coxon, for all his effort, could come home with 1 championship point in 6th place.
So Rocha indeed overtook Coxon at some point.
Yeah, he did. At some point he did.
And Del Piccolo, who long ago had basically leaned back and just preserved the engine to the end, he has been proven right, because Grant basically destroyed his own engine, and Del Piccolo is still going on. I mean, let's not jinx it, but there he is in 4th position. Bouchard is 6 seconds ahead, which should be safe with 2 laps to go.
Well, we're now coming around now. Bouchard, 1 lap to go to victory here in San Marino. It's been an up and down day for him. He's made some errors. It was not like the drive he had last time out at Jerez, but Jules definitely managed to survive a lot of adversity today, and all he has to do now is take it around one more time. He's got a good cushion between himself and Juha, 4.8 seconds at the moment. There's Juha entering the picture in the background. Juha has got a good distance between himself and Ray Radal, and then Del Piccolo is in 4th. Rocha is in 5th, 2 points potentially there, and 6th Coxon. I think Coxon will be happy considering how much he dislikes driving this car at the moment. And then another fantastic finish for the Haas team potentially here in the form of Anders Nilsson.
And wait a bit, because another story of the day could be Enosella finishing the race.
Yeah, that's another story. Gilles Taux, 6 laps adrift, but running in 11th. We'll have to see how that works out with the percentage of the race you have to finish. In any case, here comes Bouchard down to Ravazza for the final time. He had an
And look at how close Juha is.
Yeah, Bouchard is working the fuel to the very limit of what he has, I reckon.
Yes,
I think he's done enough.
As they come into Variante Bassett, looks like he's done enough. Jules rounds the last corner, and he's going very slowly, but there it is. Taking the win in San Marino, Jules Bouchard's 2nd place will go to Juha Boss. The Tifosi will be happy to see that. And here comes the 3rd place driver, who looks like he's out of fuel. Ray, he's going incredibly slow. He just got passed by one of the Team Haas entries. He is absolutely crawling to the finish here. Ray is.
And the Osella finished the race.
Wow. Ray limps across the line in 3rd place. Del Piccolo is the next car in line, coming down to Ravazza. Nice drive by Del Piccolo in this race, so Brabham doesn't have to be too downtrodden. They do score 3 points, which doubles their placement. Yes, Gilles Taux, top 10 in this race. He would have been 9th if he had, but for the time, for the limit of laps. And there goes Del Piccolo to finish. Rocha coming up here, and you can see Coxon just in the background here. Rocha looking to finish in a top 5 position. First time he's done that this year. Exiting the Variante Bassa, and look how close Coxon is. Rocha's going to beat him to the line, though, and take 5th place, and Coxon takes 6th. Those are your points-paying positions. 7th already crossed the line is Anders Nilsson. 8th, David Saber. Not a points-paying position, but a good drive nonetheless. Grant Radal looks like he's going to finish in 9th. And Gilles Taux is in 10th place. That is an incredible result for an Osella, even if it doesn't get actually classified because he was -5. But we have people coming into the driver's lounge, or actually in the booth now. For a second there was Coxon, I believe. But in any case, we do have to give you the trivia question. Are you guys ready for that? Yeah.
I am.
All right. And I think that's Juha who just joined. Okay.
Exactly.
The trivia question is, who holds the record for most San Marino Grand Prix wins? Is it A, Michael Schumacher, B, Ayrton Senna, or is it C, Alain Prost?
I'll go with Prost.
Go with
I'll
Prost.
go with Schumacher. With Schumacher for me.
Okay. Well, guess what, Alberto? You're correct. It is Schumacher.
Ah,
And unfortunately, sorry, Yuha.
Missed out again. Twice in a few minutes.
All right, so congrats on finishing second. Kind of a nutty race here and there. A lot of people finding the chicanes difficult to deal with, but during that early part of the race, there was a lot of dicing going on at the front, and it was fun to watch. But all of us were thinking, are they considering fuel economy here? You know, and did that enter your mind at all, or were you just having a lot of fun up there?
No, I was always watching fuel. Always. That's why I let them go at first. I thought, you battle this out. I'll sort the mess out when I get to the end. And yeah, and I still had a litre left in the final lap. Or
Oh my
surplus
goodness.
litre, so that's why I could go flat out for once, and I crossed the line with an empty tank, but 1 second short.
Well, you weren't the only one who was crawling to the line. Also, Ray Radal was very lucky to get to the end. Was clearly just about out of fuel. But yeah, exciting race though, and it would have been Grant's, but for that one last mistake that occurred at Varianta.
I don't know what
Bassa.
happened to him actually. I just saw
spun.
him.
He spun on the exit of Varianta Bassa and gave the lead to Jules. So, but for that, he would have won today. But
Well, I don't think he pitted, so maybe his tires were off.
yeah. Well, it was an incredible race all the way around. A lot of fun to watch. Don't forget, everybody, that next week we go back pro car racing. It is the British Grand Prix support race with the pro cars, 1980, round 4 of 9, Sunday, February 26th. Any predictions there, Yuha?
I haven't even looked at the track yet,
Besides-
so
besides-
I'm going to... Besides lots of wall scraping, no, I'm not going to answer anything.
Besides lots of broken fiberglass.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I don't even like the track, so don't expect anything from my side.
All right. Well, I'm looking in the green room and I don't see anybody, so it looks like we're going to close this broadcast out. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. And Alberto, thank you again for your very expert color commentary. It's always top shelf. We appreciate it very much. And thanks also to Jonathan for joining us in the booth for a little bit towards the end here. So for myself, for Alberto, Jonathan, and Yuha, this is Jason White saying so long from San Marino. We'll see you all next time. Take care and be safe.